Good evening. This side Rahul Magan here is a Group Chief Executive Officer, Treasury Consulting. As we speak, Treasury Consulting is a multinational headquartered group based out Singapore. We are a multinational hedge fund who actively take positions in US, Europe, and Asia. But like I said many a times, we are a proprietary hedge fund. By proprietary, I mean no third party. I repeat, no third party can invest capital in our fund. Today, I would be covering a very important topic, and that is forensic audit. There was a time when I used to work as a corporate treasurer in EXL. I was having the time to teach people. I used to travel worldwide and used to give forensic audit trainings to Institute of Chartered Accountant of India and multiple organizations in India and outside. While providing trainings to Institute of Chartered Accountant of India, ICAI, I traveled almost whole India. And later on, I realized that the practical implications of forensic audit in India is absolutely poor and pathetic. The audit manuals, which are in line as far as the forensic audit is concerned, is absolutely poor. Then I started my company in 2016. I became very busy and I hardly got any time to speak about forensic audit. But now as the company is matured, it's running, profitable, we are moving back to the forensic audit. Now forensic audit is nothing but a set of techniques which will help you to find out a fraud. That's more important thing. The bookish definition of forensic audit is fraud is unintentional in nature, but the reality is the fraud is intentional in nature. So please also note that there is no fraud which is unintentional in nature. Whether this is Diwan Housing, whether this is Yes Bank, whether this is PMC Bank, whether this is the Wirecard or any other fraud, it was completely intentional in nature. The hard reality is that the top management as well as the statutory auditors, the top management and statutory auditors are always in sync as far as the fraud is concerned. Else, how can that possible? That in the countries like India, Satyam claimed they had around 5,000 crores of term deposits. So out of 5,000 crores of term deposit and the report is audited by PwC, the realistic picture was around 30 crores. Later on, what had happened, we all aware about that. Had it been Singapore or any other law-abiding country, PwC license must have confiscated. But in India, PwC is still doing the auditing. There are many loss-making startups we have in India who are still being audited by PwC. And unfortunately, investors, people like you, even some institutional investors, they are relying on these audit figures. Guys, we need to understand that forensic audit is divided into two parts. Number one, the bookish, or we can say this as a pre-audit setup. Number two is the post-audit setup, which is more technical in nature, more computerized work, and more mechanical in nature. The pre-forensic or audit part is nothing but a set of agreements the forensic auditor needs to sign with the auditee. So very recently, Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, said that Future Retail or one of the entity of the Future Group to go with the forensic audit. Previous to that, many other Indian regulators also, you know, put the forensic audit on various forms. But what is the end result? Zero. Did the manipulation stop? No. Did the huge volume in the F&O segment stop? No. Now, the biggest forensic audit problem we have in India is that the auditor is Big Fours. EY, KPMG, PwC and Deloitte. EY, PwC, KPMG and Deloitte. Very recently, US fined EY 100 million US dollars, which means around 800 crores Indian rupee. So, 100 million US dollar is being fined on EY, and which is equivalent to 800 crores Indian rupee, but still EY doing the audits in India. EY is not only doing the forensic audit but doing the other forms of auditing and advisory work in India, irrespective of having such a huge fine. And this 100 million fine which is imposed on EY, this is because of the manipulation in the CPA paper. CPA stands for American Institute of CPA. One of the well-renowned accounting setup we have in the world. So just assume that if EY can manipulate the CPA paper, how can you trust the financial audit or the forensic audit of the EY? KPMG. Yes Bank was audited by KPMG. You know what had happened in Yes Bank. Thousands of crores of rupees being washed out of the investors when people got to know that Yes Bank is in scandal. Before 2 years of the Yes Bank, I was in the public domain saying that the Rana Kapoor valuations are completely incorrect and they cannot be possible. But you know how India works. When Yes Bank scandal came into the public domain, people got to know that how frauded is the Yes Bank. Do you know which Big Four helped Yes Bank setting up ARC, Asset Reconstruction Company? It is EY. And who did the audit of Yes Bank? KPMG. Irrespective of having 100 million of fine on EY, EY did the ARC work for Yes Bank. Did KPMG license being confiscated? Indian regulators on an often basis provided the forensic audit work to these Big Fours. Don't these Indian regulators aware that these Big Fours are doing manipulations, scandals, corruption? Don't they aware about that? Very recently, the Big Fours are being scolded by the UK authorities regarding huge, I would say inconsistency in the accounting work they did. Now, it raises a very important question, and now I am back in forensic audit. I would be raising this question that it is like I would be hiring, Vijay Mallya, and I am saying to Vijay Mallya, you please audit the fraud of Rana Kapoor. And I will push the people of the country to believe that whatever audit report, Vijay Mallya would be producing on Rana Kapoor, this audit report should be, I would say, trusted. This is how the forensic audit is happening. One of the important things which I would like to highlight, I'm sure that this would never happen in India even after 20 years, because the whole system is designed in such a way that the innovation is absolutely zero. And this is the swift audit. Vijay Mallya, Nirav Modi, and all these scandals are nothing but the siphoning of the fund, which means sometimes the funds were taken from the banks, sometimes the funds were taken from investors, sometimes the funds were taken from institutional investors like private equity and all, sometimes the blend. And this money is siphoned outside India in tranches in such a way that even today, which is after several years of these frauds and the forensic audit, nothing had happened. Example, Diwan Housing. Diwan Housing forensic audit done. But what is the output? Did that money which investors lost, did that money came back? The high value shares the investors bought, and now the value of now Diwan Housing is unlisted. Whatever investors lost, did that compensated? No, it would never happen. Remember Yes Bank, 81 bonds, additional Tier 1 bonds. Whatever additional Tier 1 bonds issued by the Yes Bank, it is being phased out. Rather than passing the responsibility on the Yes Bank, rather than pushing the Yes Bank to return which they borrowed from the investors heavily, these bonds are phased out. This is how the forensic audit is actually done in India. Indian audit manuals are 100% obsolete. And the reason is we are never allowing the swift audit to happen in India. And why are we not allowing swift audit to happen in India? Because if we allow the swift audit, in this eventuality, the money, basically the money which is being rooted outside India would come back to India. And this is what most of the people do not want. Have you seen Institute of Chartered Accountant of India, Institute of Company Secretary of India, Institute of Cost Accountant of India, and various other people, those who are claiming to teach forensic audit, did they actually working on the swift audit? Have you seen that Indian regulators, Ministry of Corporate Affairs or any other regulator working on the swift audit? No. Until otherwise, we make swift audit mandatory, these frauds would continue. And these frauds would continue forever. That is what I am assuring. The latest example is the Future Group. Future Group defaulted the loan. Future Group defaulted the payments, interest payment. And there are some news which is coming about the leases. Now, what is the use of forensic audit? When everything is done, you defaulted on the loan, you defaulted on the interest payment, your stores are closed, your brand valuation is zero. Thousands of investors for the sake of hype that one corporate group is buying Future Group, they bought the shares at an expensive price. And even at that point of time, I came in public domain and warned people, be careful about the Future Group and its financial statement. People still bought Future Group. Where is the Future Group? What is the use of forensic audit? And even if there is some formality to be done as far as the forensic audit is concerned, would that money which investors actually lost and the lenders who lend it, especially the banks who lend it to the future group, would that money came back? Never. Because we are not changing the system of forensic audit. And until we won't make changes in the system, the efficiency and effectivity would never happen. This is what I would like to say. I'm back in forensic audit, more videos on the cards. This is Rahul Magan from Treasury Consulting Group. You knew my personal number 9899242978. Have a great time.